Hey everybody, first video of the year, second attempt, because I'm trying to keep this within 10 minutes. For whatever reason, I ended up with 20 minutes, so I'm going to do this again and see if I can knock it through. So, what have I been doing? I've been having laser engraver problems. I've been working on some projects. I've been having nothing but trouble. And a long story short is I traced a good chunk of it back to this ruler, which they gave me with the engraver when I bought it. And you'd think after you spend, $5 grand for a laser engraver that you'd get a decent freaking ruler, but no, not at all. Eventually I figured out, after days of struggling with the machine, that it was out of calibration, and why this is part of it. This is off. So it's like between here and here, it's not off a lot. But between here and over here, it becomes a lot. And I'm trying to do two things with this. I'm trying to measure the diagnostic pattern that they put so that you can adjust your mirrors and get all the warps out of it and whatever else. So I'm having to measure, well, those measurements were off. And then I also need to, have my workpiece to, like, say this is a workpiece, to the laser head height properly. So that was off. And I had made a gauge so that I wouldn't have to measure with this all the time. And you just use the gauge between the workpiece and the bottom of the lens. And then you can, if you got a piece that's thick and it's raised up, you can just use the gauge to get the laser, right on focus quickly. So that problem caused me to go and buy this, because my SPI 12-inch caliper, somehow a hot light bulb landed on it and destroyed my LCD, so it's pretty much useless. And of course SPI doesn't fix anything, they just throw it in the trash, buy another one. So that's the end of SPI. I bought the SPI one used. I didn't pay a lot for it. I bought it at the pawn shop. One of the pawn shops here, Axel's Pawn Shop, has machining tools. And so I, over the last 4 years, been buying a lot of stuff from them to come into the shop. And so to solve these issues, I needed to buy this, which is from Mitutoyo. I needed to buy that. These are $500 new, and I'm not going to spend $500 for a new one. The pawn shop had this for $200. I wasn't going to pay that either. I got them down to $150. They took it. I took it. We're all happy. Now, this is a little beat up, when I got it. And, the battery cover's broken, and that's a common problem with Mitutoyo. And so it does, I checked it against one of my gauge blocks, and it is, calibrated correctly. So that's good. But, let's see if we can get that in there. That is the tips. See there? And that happened. You know why that happens. I don't need to tell you why, right? Scribing your workpiece, I do that once in a while myself, but I'm not doing it every day. This is like every day, every week for the past 2 years, someone did that. And now it's like it's worn out and they can't get good scribes anymore, so they, wound up in the pawn shop. These tips aren't going to be useful to me. I'm just using this in the shop. What's useful, on this. Come on, cooperate. What the heck? Oh, there we go. All right, duh. Yeah, what's useful is what's measuring in between here. and it measures accurately. Both of them do, so that's great. Now I replaced this ruler. This came today, and it came from Mitutoyo. Figured it's going to be a great ruler. Yeah, that's what I got. Not happy with this at all. I figured I would get something nice and beefy, and it's Mitutoyo, and it's not going to be cheesy. And, you know, I'm willing to bet that it is accurate like it needs to be. But, I mean, come on. Really? That was just more disappointing. And they shipped it in just a plastic bag so that it could get all banged up and bent, and it is a little bent. You're not going to see it if I tried to show you. This camera lens is all weird, but it's a little bent. I'll live with it. I'll try to make it work. But, since we're on this Mitutoyo kick, this is another Mitutoyo thing I bought, which I've never used. And that's because these stick. They're rough, and they don't move very well at all. Compared to my Starrett, which is just really smooth. There's no way I'm going to be able to accurately get the center on my milling machine with this. It's total garbage. And do I have to mention Mitutoyo's crappy customer service? So if you want to avoid that, there you go. And if you want to avoid the ruler, there you go. You can certainly avoid it. But Opie, it said in the advertisement how thick it was. Why did you buy it if it said it was that thin? I mean, look, I've said this before. Math doesn't register in my head. It never has, ever. When I'm reading the thickness of this, I don't know what that means. And I can look on this, I don't know what that means. I can say, oh, okay, that's the thickness. Doesn't tell me anything. I need to see it in person, and I've had this problem my whole life, all through school. Getting through math class was a nightmare. And summertime would come, and at the end of summer, you go back to school. I'd have to start the same math class all over again because I would literally forget everything. And the school at some point thought that I was dumb and decided to do a battery of tests on me. And they did an IQ test on me. And the average IQ is 90 for people in North America and Europe. China and Japan and Korea, they average around 92, a couple points higher. That doesn't make them geniuses, and it's only 2 points. My IQ was 116, and they couldn't understand. They tested me 3 separate times because they thought that the test was off. So 3 times came out 116. I've been tested numerous times and in my adult life, and I keep coming out the same 116. Now I can see an engine operating in my head. I can see all the parts moving, and I can see transmissions and gears and wheels and anything mechanical. I got it right away. You don't need to tell me twice. So why the math problem? And I just recently, over the last couple of years, I spent a whole year with a private math tutor. Same thing. I've gotten nowhere. So that's where the math is. No, I don't know how thin it is when I'm looking at it. But either way, come on. Mitutoyo, serious? Anyway, that's my rant. I've been working on engraving these, and these aren't actual finished things. I'm just getting through the testing thing. One of the things I wanted to do was a conversion chart, pocket conversion chart. Of course, this would be two-sided. And it's been a freaking nightmare, man. The stainless steel is really strong, what I found. I cannot bend this. I hurt my fingers before I can bend this. So it's brushed really heavy, and that's been one problem. The laser being off has been the other problem. but it makes good marks when it does. And so this is kind of what I've been working on. I've got other ideas. I don't know how I'm going to solve this because I need to get these without the brushing. I need to get these plain. And of course, you know, that means buying from China. So I don't think I'm going to be buying this. This was heat treated. That's why it's that gold color. And see, you can make the stainless steel black. This was all done with the laser, just going over it. There's no ink or dye or anything on that. Kind of a reversal in contrast. And you know, the idea for this is because I'm constantly dealing with fractions and decimal conversions, and you know, it's like a pain in the ass to go walking around pulling books and all that. It's easier to have this in your pocket, and that's why I thought of it. So more on this later. I don't know how I'm going to resolve this problem. I'm probably going to have to come up with a way of cutting stainless steel on my own and just buying stainless steel sheets, and you know, I don't know if I'm going to go through all that yet, but that's kind of what I've been working on. And otherwise, nothing else to report, really. It's just been kind of going slow. This is a power supply I picked up. Yeah, it's sucking the juice out of it, that little thing. It's pretty good. It's a good little power supply. This here little USB microscope is a must-have in the shop. I use it in here, but its home is mostly with the laser engraver. So anyway, that's about it, folks. That's kind of what I'm working on, and I'll give you an update, you know, when an update is necessary. And I think I got this within 12 minutes, which is pretty good. A lot better than 20. All right, folks, I got to go. I will talk to you all later.